You're listening to the HVAC Company Marketing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping your service-based business grow and thrive using the latest technology in internet marketing. And now, here's the host of our show and the CEO of Grow Inc., Matt Law.
All right, everyone, welcome back. We are glad you are joining us again. We have a two-part podcast series that I'm really excited about, and we're going to talk about sales. And before we dig in and I share with you some things that I've learned over the years, I want to tell you a little bit about my background. So I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. Started my first business in 2001, but before that, I was selling mortgages. I was a mortgage broker, and then we opened a mortgage company. I trained guys to sell mortgages. We became a lender. And so I've been selling since I was really young. I think I was about 23 or 24 when I first got a job selling mortgages as a salesperson, and had a lot to learn. And I was selling something that's kind of a big deal. And I did that until 2007. We grew by a ton, and I sold a ton. And then I opened up a marketing agency. And I worked out of my home for a couple of years, and I had to sell B2B marketing and growth. That company evolved, and a lot of people asked us what we were doing. We sold franchises or licenses of our business model. And so those were really high ticket items. And so if you ask me how much I've sold, I would say millions of dollars with a really high closing rate. But what I'm going to tell you is that I didn't really think about sales at all. During all of this time, I was reading a lot of books. One of the books that I read a lot was No BS Sales Success by Dan Kennedy. Dan Kennedy is someone I've followed a long time, so he's one of the godfathers of modern day marketing. And what I'll tell you is it's not selling, it's good marketing and being prepared for that sale. It's showing the customer why they should buy from you versus anybody else. And we do help our clients with selling and give them advice and feedback. And so I think this training is going to help you sell more. And maybe it's something that one of your staff could listen to if they are in sales. And it's all about growth. And one of the things that I should let you know is that I was talking to a client, actually, this was just yesterday, pretty interesting conversation, and we're trying to get his revenue to $300,000 per month was his goal. He started at just $40,000 a month, so he's seen amazing growth, and right now his best month has been $200,000, and so we're trying to get to the $300,000. And right now his closing rate for his guys going out and doing estimates is about, it's probably about 41%. And so we were figuring out what he would have to do to get to this mark in revenue. And right now he's got about 100 appointments was what he's running. And he's like, well, I got to get to 150 appointments. And so that's what we were kind of figuring out. And I said, well, what if your closing rate went to 10%? And this is something we've talked about for a long time. Then he only needs, I think it was like 112 appointments. So if he could close more and have a higher conversion rate, he only needs 12 more appointments to add another $100,000 a month in revenue to his business. And so what we're going to talk about today is selling and increasing your conversion rates. And I want to start off by backing up. With every new client we work with, we develop their unique selling points, USPs. Some people call them unique selling propositions. What this is the first step of our 4-step marketing formula, and it's coming up with your overall marketing message. And so for service businesses, we look at their background, their experience, their online reviews, how they leave the home when they're done, or leave the place when they're done. There's a ton to this, like certifications, background checks. Warranty is a huge one. So we always try to extend the warranty, really work on customer service so that it's a clear choice, so that your business is a clear choice. Once we have your USPs, well, that goes into everything. It goes into your videos. It goes into your website content, your emails, all of that. So it's all starts off with developing, hey, who you are on the inside and why you're better. So let's jump into the training, and hopefully all of this will make sense to you as we go. Again, this is a two-part series. The first one, we're going to talk about the practical steps of selling, and the next one, we're going to talk about people you sell to, which I think you'll find very interesting. So number one, selling is about trust. It's about the customer trusting you. It's not about talking a bunch and the words you say. It's about establishing trust. It's said in business and in marketing that people do business with you if they know you, if they like you, and they trust you. So home service sales, they happen in kitchens and driveways and sometimes even over the phone. But homeowners are buying certainty and safety, and usually they've got a problem or a desire for something better, and they need it fixed and they need improvements. If they don't trust you, I will just tell you right off the bat, price will not matter. So you could be the cheapest. Now, a lot of you compete like trying to be the lowest price, but you are not professional, right? You don't show yourself as trustworthy, then you lose deals to somebody else who is charging more, because professionalism and trust will always beat slick sales language every time. And so you could be a high pressure salesperson and really, let's do this, I'm ready to go. But if they lack trust, you'll lose the sale. Now, sometimes you can high pressure someone into a sale, but then they will have buyer's remorse. And so one of the things I always tell people, our clients, when we're talking to them, is that your sales guy should come in some sort of company gear, right? Some hat, shirt. If they come in sloppy in street clothes, and if you're doing this now, you immediately lose trust. The vehicle, all right, should be clean. And I know for a lot of guys, it's a work truck or something, but it can have a wrap or a magnet or something. And if not, make it plain white. Sometimes people tell me, well, you can't do that. You can't put magnets and stuff. And I get there's different laws all over the country, but clean vehicle, right? Clean clothes, company t-shirt, company hat, and you should have professional materials, folders, business cards, all of that. So our clients, almost always, if they're doing sales, we create them folders. And the folders are not like full size, they're half size. And then there's inserts in those. And usually in the inserts, there is a cover letter from the business owner, business card from the salesperson or the business owner if he's selling, a sheet of reviews, which is all of the reviews front and back. There are their unique selling points, what makes them different and better. Sometimes there'll be a financing sheet and sometimes a cross-selling service document. And then there's usually a magnet and a card with a bunch of reviews that they can scan to see more online. It's a nice professional package. And because we're a marketing company, we can get wholesale pricing on this for our clients for printing. And so usually they can get about 1,000 copies. Think about those professional folders for like $1,500, $1,600. And it makes all the difference in you going into that meeting. So first impressions matter. And it's not just what they think of you, it's what they thought of you from the very first engagement. And that goes to the person answering the phone. It goes to your website. And if they booked an appointment on your website, how was that experience? Did they get reminders for the appointment, SMS? Did you show up on time? And so for most of our clients, they got a really great website. They fill out a form. Someone will call them or they'll get a text so they can book online. And then they're getting reminders. And then the salesperson is showing up. So you are building trust before you even meet with the client. And what you need to realize if you're a salesperson is that you are the product that they are buying before they buy your service. So at Grow Inc., one of the things, and I'll just kind of pull the curtain back so you can see our sales process, and hopefully it will help you. At Grow Inc., we offer a lot of free education and we offer seamless communication. And when most people talk to us, they're already ready to buy. Like I don't ever sell or put pressure. They're already ready to do because they have been informed a lot of times through our books, through our podcasts, or through our YouTube channel. We spend zero money on traditional marketing, because what we're doing is providing education to people to help them. And so as they are opting in or listening to our podcast and requesting our resources, then they opt in and they get our book, they get these resources. There's no pressure, but when they are ready to schedule, they schedule online, they get a text, they get a confirmation. All of these processes go, so they already know what to expect. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. The secret is if you offer value and you do a good job, you should not have to sell really hard. You're basically showing them who you are. And a lot of times when people are going in to sell, they feel like, hey, I just don't have any confidence. And I want to encourage you that confidence comes from your preparation, what you do before the sale. And I'll give you an example. It's like before you ever go out and sell your product, you ought to know your product really well. You ought to study it. If you are just going out there and you're kind of winging it, right? Top salespeople never wing it, right? So you need to know your pricing. All of the different configurations and scenarios and options that are available, like top tier, middle tier, lower tier. You should know all about your product really well. You should be able to tell how your product is different than your competitors, the guy down the street, right? They may be selling something cheaper, but you need to be able to explain how this is different. You also need to know the process, the timing, how the permitting works, the next steps, what they sign, payment plans, all of that, your financing. You should have all of that planned out, and you need to know how to explain what happens next. So you have to understand this. Your job as a salesperson, even if you're the business owner, you have to cast vision for how that process works. And I know you've been doing this probably a long time, and you know it. It's easy and common, but when I meet with business owners and I go to different areas of the country and I learn about different service businesses, here's what I know. There's things that I don't know, right? I'm a homeowner, right? I'm 50 years old. I understand history of the owning a home and things like that, but there's things that I don't know. I'll give you an example. I met with a garage door company, and it's our only garage door company, and this was a couple of years ago. And there was so many things that I did not know about the different types of garage doors. I just never thought about how automated it could be, right? How you can connect it to your Wi-Fi and, all of these different configurations of insulation and how that keeps the cold out or the heat. I learned a lot. And so if I don't know this, then a lot of times homeowners don't know all of the options. So if you want to reduce your anxiety, right, and you want to give confidence to the homeowner as well, you need to be ready even if you've never sold anything before. And what I mean like that, sometimes there's new business owners and they're going out. You need to, in your mind, walk through how you are going to sell and give them a process. You're not going to say, hey, I've never really done this before, but hey, let's try it out. No. You've got to walk through it even in your mind. And this is the key takeaway I hope you get, is that uncertainty, even for a millisecond on your end, will kill the deal faster than the price. So you have to have confidence. You have to be certain that you can do the job. And if you're not, you're going to lose trust with the homeowner and they're going to work with someone else. People buy on value, not just on price, and they value having someone who's competent to get this done. So you are going to give them a vision for the project. You're going to lead them through how it will go. And as I shared, all of our clients will give their presentation. They will have these folders with inserts and upsells and all their unique selling points. And when they're done, they give them the folder and they say, hey, here's how we're different. And, and then it gives them a chance to go through their unique selling points. For example, like, hey, the guy down the road, you can get our quote. Just want you to know the industry standard is a 1-year warranty. We do a 3-year warranty. All of our materials are a 5-year warranty, or whatever you come up with as part of your unique selling point. This is your time when you're meeting with them in their home to give them an education if you're selling a high ticket item. So at Grow Inc., I'll give you pull the curtain back again. So for us, as part of our sales process, people have to schedule with us by filling out an application. And because they have to fill out an application to work with us, after they do that, I review the application. It's kind of like them requesting a quote, if you will, something like that for your website. But they're telling me about their business. And I'm kind of able to go through that and research that because I now have all the details about the prospect, because to get to that point where they can schedule a call, they fill out the application. It takes them about 10 minutes, and it allows me to be prepared. I know the company, I know the website, I know the service area, I know the people, I know their revenues, I know a lot of details. And because of that, I'm able to spend about 5 minutes before every call researching, just looking up who it is, where they're at, looking at their website, and knowing if I can help them or what some solutions may be, which gives me confidence. And so you should really, be prepared and have a process in place. During my 1 hour call, I ask the same questions. I get to know the business owner, and that's just the first step of our process. I'll share more as we go. But the secret is I have to have confidence. I have to know, and that confidence comes from being prepared. Which brings me to number 3, is that you need to ask better questions than your competitors. And one of the things that I think you need to remember is probably what your mama said to you when you were little. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and you should listen twice as much as you talk. At least my mom said something like that as I was growing up. It's easy for us salespeople to jump in and try to sell. And that's not good, especially in our next episode. You're really going to understand that because there's different personality types. So instead, we need to ask questions like figure out what matters to the homeowner first. Can you tell me what you're looking for? What's the most important thing? Like, how long has this been an issue? Let the homeowners hear themselves say what they want. And sometimes they don't care about price. They want something that's going to last and its quality. And sometimes they want the cheapest thing because maybe they're not going to be there too long, or maybe it's an investment property. You can hear what they want. And then as they say it out loud, it helps you reinforce what you are going to offer them when you reiterate back to them, like, hey, because you said this, here's what I would suggest. And repeat back to them what they're saying, because you're going to use that in your product. Mr. Homeowner, you're saying you never want to worry about this again. So that's why I'm offering this top of the line product. It has an X-year warranty. We'll be here to service it if anything ever happens. We have a warranty. This is the best one you can get. If you want, I can give you some other options that are more affordable, what our competitors are selling. And that's an example of that. Maybe they say they're moving in a few years and they are getting this option, it's not forever, but like, hey, they just want something that is going to hold them over. They want something that's affordable, still great quality. So diagnosis, let me say that the right way, sells the job, not the estimate. Understanding what they really care about first will help you decide what options to give them. So at Grow Inc., and I'll go ahead and tell you about my sales process as well, we ask a lot of questions. So during the application, I already know a lot. We figure out what they're doing, and we'll just kind of talk through different forms of marketing. And I tell them about it, and I say, if they are a good fit, and so not everyone is a good fit, we invite them to an investigation meeting. And this isn't for every prospect, but for clients that are for growth campaigns that really want to scale, I can't just say, here's an estimate. I just don't know enough about what their needs are. So we invite them to an investigation meeting, which is a 2-hour Zoom meeting, online meeting. And that is where we figure out the problems they're facing and the solutions. And there's probably a list of 100 and something questions that I go through that show me what they need and what they have. It's a ton of questions. Now, I'm prepared for this meeting because I have those questions, and those questions allow me to see what the diagnosis is. For example, it's like, what are they spending on ads? What's their cost per lead? What's the lifetime value of the customer? Are they using their database? What are they about remarketing, meta ads, Google ads, LSA, SEO, PPC, all of this stuff? Are they tracking their calls? Do they track UTMs? And so seriously, it takes 2 hours. But by the end of the call, I can say, okay, here's what you're doing wrong and here's what you're doing right. It's a deep dive into their marketing competitors and all of that. I run their rankings, all of that. So I can really see, is there an opportunity for growth? So we only take on clients who have an opportunity to really scale and grow. And if they're doing everything right, I say, hey, you're doing a lot of things right. We can help a little bit, but you're really not a good fit for a growth campaign. Or I can say, here's all the things that you said you're doing. Here's where you want to be. Here's what I think we can get for you. And it's by asking those questions, it allows me to see. And so I tell you this because in our sales process, you want to take on, we want to take on the right clients. You, as a business owner, you want to take on the best clients as well. And so we don't take every client on that we take, but the ones that we take, we always know we're a good fit because of that time. And so if you own a business, right? And let me just go back. You're like, Matt, what if the business owner that I'm talking to or the homeowner you're talking to won't allow me to ask questions and go through what I need to know to give them a good estimate? And you show up and normally it takes an hour and the guy's like, let's go, I need an estimate, get out of here. And won't let you explain how you're different or how you're better. And I've had people get on the phone too, and they're like, hey, just give me the estimate. I'm too busy. And then I tell them, well, then we won't be a good fit. If you own a business, you've probably taken on some bad deals, or if you're a salesperson, listen to this, you have taken on some bad clients, bad customers at home, and they are just a pain in the neck. No matter what you do, nothing's good enough. And usually you hated every second working with that customer and were delighted when the project was done. And it's usually because their expectations were off. And that goes back to the sales process where they weren't educated about the process. They rushed you and they just wanted the price. And then you tried to walk them through and they's like, no, just give me this. And then maybe they wanted a little better deal and you gave it to them. And then what happened? You regretted it. And this is what I'll tell you. Whenever I violate my sales and education process, I always regret it. And I won't do it anymore at this point in my life. But if you violate your sales process, salespeople, and you have a process that you go through that has education, asking questions, is listening, and goes through all that, when you violate that and they cannot see how you're different and that what you're offering is different, and you violate that because you need the money or you got to get this deal, it's never good. And in the past, when I would violate my sales process or do something out of the normal or just give a special deal to somebody because they asked, I always regretted it because it put us in a position where they were not educated about the marketing and growth process or the mortgage process or the training process, whatever I was into at that time. So I would encourage you, salespeople, always stick to the sales process and make sure your clients know exactly what you do, how you're different, all about the product they're getting. And if you will spend more time with education, they will work with you regardless of price because you are mentioning things that other companies aren't. I'll give you an example. So I have to have some dental work done. Went to a dentist. I always felt rushed. Didn't feel like she knew what I really needed. And I went to a different dentist, amazing online reviews, looked him up on Google. And the dentist spent probably an hour with me talking about what I could have done, all of the options. I mean, fantastic. Probably a little bit more than the other companies out there. I don't care. I feel trust, and I'm going to work with this guy because I'm like, this guy understands. He's an older dentist. He got it together. Their office has it together. All of the things that I'm sharing with you helped with the conversion rate with me because of trust, right? The trust. And ultimately, you got to realize when you're selling, you aren't just selling your services or your products and services, right? You are selling an outcome for them. You're not selling a line item. Whenever whenever I meet with business owners and they try to line item their estimates, I say, hey, that's not a good idea. They don't care about the parts or the materials. And whenever you do that, usually you're showing them how much you make in labor. It's best to give them a lump sum because you're not selling light items, right? You're selling the outcome, and they don't care about the parts or the material. What do they care about? Well, is this going to solve my problem? Is this what I'm looking for? What's the total bottom line? How long is this going to take? Will this be the best solution? Do I trust this person that can get this thing done, right? Can they get it done? So peace of mind is the real product, this real service that you are selling. And this is why you need to iron out your unique selling points. Do you have a better warranty? Background checked contractors? How is the cleanup process? How is the speed of getting things done? What are your online reviews? What do they look like? When we meet with clients, we always start with their unique selling points to figure out how they can do things better. And at Grow Inc., when we are selling marketing, all right, we're not selling SEO, even though that's what we do, part of that. PPC, we're not selling that. We're not selling meta ads or a new website or any of this. Like, yes, we do all those services, but we are selling a system that brings companies growth. It's simple. So we are selling growth. That's why we called our company Grow Inc., right? Healthy growth done by doing all these things the right way with someone you trust, with a team you trust that has a background in doing this in a long time. And guess what? You can do all of this and probably grow and actually spend the same amount of money because of how we do our marketing process. And so that's one of our unique selling points. And so I'm walking you through this. And so when we go to sell, like, they're educated, they know the process. We walk them through the process. And then when they realize, hey, I can get this done for maybe this much more or a little bit less, but this company has a track record in this growth and all of these things, it becomes a no-brainer. Right. And so our closing rate, I mean, it's like 95%, right? We never have to try to sell. And for you guys going out there and selling in the field, if you're prepared and you educate and you walk them through the process and you listen and give them the right solution, and you have done your work on the inside to be prepared, your conversion rate will go up. And if it goes up by 10%, realize this, just like the example from the business owner I was talking to yesterday, instead of needing 150 appointments, he only needs 12 more appointments to generate $100,000 a month if he increases his conversion rate from 40 to 50%. Now think about that. It's crazy. So what about objections? Well, number 5, objections are normal and they are predictable. And if you're there and they're ready to go and you're able to do this with your estimating process or software, it's okay to ask for the sale or for them to say, hey, I'm ready to go, especially if you can offer the total price quote in a few minutes. You may get some objections, and even if you don't get them on the first time, you may get them on the second time. Like, well, let me think about it. I need to talk to my spouse. Oh, I'm going to get a few more quotes. And just realize that this is normal, right? If you're getting a 50 or 60% closing rate, that's really strong. Some of you are really good salesmen and you have a really, really great closing rate, right? But the problem is you're closing everything, but you don't have a lot of leads because your marketing engine isn't strong. It's interesting is that you are normally, if you're just an average salesperson, you are going to get pushback. We get pushback as well. This is normal. They want to feel peace in their heart that it's the right deal for them. And so sometimes they may be excited and then they may back off and wait. All right. And if you have salespeople working for you, right, then this is an opportunity, or if you're the salesperson, it's a great opportunity for you to say something like this. All right. Well, if you have a similar quote for the same material, let me know and I could bring it to my boss. And we'd hate to lose a job over a few dollars. So if they're telling you they're getting more quotes, or if you're the business owner, you could say something like this: hey, I'm a small business owner and I'd hate to lose a sale over a few dollars. If you have a similar estimate for the same product, bring it to me and we can talk about it. And the thing is if you have done a great job in your presentation and left the folder and they get something that is just a little bit less, they really would prefer to work with you. They prefer to work with the sales guy that is a professional, that is doing things the right way. And so if they tell you they're getting more quotes or that they're going to talk about it, then you can say, bring me that other estimate. One thing is it'll allow you to see other estimates, and it gives you a chance to see if you decide you want to lower the price or not. Sometimes they'll bring you a crazy estimates. You don't even know how the company's doing it. They're probably barely making anything and you can pass on it. And I've even seen companies say, hey, we can't do that. I'm sorry. And the company still ends up going with my client, the higher price client, because of the trust. Once you send out that estimate or they've said no or let me think about it, the secret is you need to follow up with the prospect. And so for most of our clients, they're in a CRM with opportunities or something, and it's a phase called pending sales or estimate sent. And what happens is once they go to that phase, there is continued marketing and sharing of your unique selling points after the estimate goes out, showing them you're the best choice. So sometimes it may be an email linking over to your online reviews. It may be talking about your warranty. And so if you don't get the sale on the spot, you should not high pressure, right? High pressure does not sell, right? Trust does. People do business with you if they know you, like you, and trust you. And if you've educated them with your marketing ahead of time, if you are a professional going out there, even if you are a little bit higher priced, and we don't want our clients to be the lowest price, we want them to be priced fairly, we want them to do a great job, but they will often get the deal because of trust. When I was probably about 30 years old, so it's probably about 20 years ago, we had a house that had a water softener, and I had never owned one, and it didn't seem to be working. And so we got a guy out there, and he spent about 2 minutes looking at our unit, which I was told by the homeowner, because we had just purchased the house, the previous owner, that it was a great unit, and but it wasn't working the right way. There was rust in our system. And so the guy just goes right into a sales pitch. He's got folders and he's got all of this, and he writes up the quote there on the spot in a matter of 30 minutes, 45 minutes. He goes through a sales presentation, tries to sell me on a $6,000 something unit 20 years ago. And I said, I'm just not ready. You're the first guy I've talked to. And he continued to high pressure, high pressure, high pressure. Well, because of that and me being in sales, I lost respect because I'm not a high pressure guy. Like I hate that. It felt like I was at, buying a car with a high pressure sales guy, or like maybe at a vacation rental, like a timeshare sales. So the guy lost all trust. It was terrible. And I ended up finding out that the problem with the unit is that there was a setting on it that didn't have the salt coming into it the right way. The guy fixed it for $75, and it worked great for all the years that we owned that house. So you think about that guy really lost trust then. So, sometimes people are going to get more quotes, but you don't want to high pressure people. Right. So at Grow Inc., we actually hope people get more quotes. I hope that they do. Like if people work with us and we put our packages together and they're like, hey, I need to get some more quotes. Well, usually that doesn't happen, but our quotes are so jam-packed with good marketing and great, information, and so comprehensive that most of our competitors don't do all that we do, right? And if they did, they would have to charge a customer usually $100,000 or more, seriously. And so what's cool is I often run our packages through ChatGPT and tell them about the company that it's for and what their revenue's for and what it could cost. And it will spit out some crazy numbers, usually well into the $150,000 range, sometimes more depending on the company. But our unique selling point, one of them is we partner with companies and we charge a lot less because we receive bonus compensation when the company wins. And so if the company wins big, then we can get a little bit of bonus, and clients are happy to pay that because they've grown and surpassed these numbers that we've set. So it's kind of like us taking the risk, and that's what causes us to stand out. So I'm like, yeah, go ahead and get some more quotes. We're happy for you to do that. I've never lost any deal over price because of our unique selling point. And so if you got someone going out to get more quotes, you shouldn't worry either. Say that, hey, I'd hate to lose a job over a few dollars, right? And maybe sometimes you will lose clients over price. That guy that is, looking for the cheapest deal, but those are the clients you don't want, the customers you don't want. You want customers and clients that value what you're bringing to the table, all right? And which is my last point here that I will kind of bring up is that if you have someone that is price shopping you hard and like, I want this, I want that, if all you sell is price, you've already failed in the sales process because you have not created any differentiation. I never can say that word, differentiation. I think that's right, differentiation. It's where you show them how you're different. Little blooper on our podcast today, but you know what I mean. Like, so you will always lose someone who's cheaper. And if you take all those jobs that are super low price, I've met business owners that are so busy, but they're not making any money. They're closing everything because they're so cheap. And I'm like, man, you're burning out working 60, 70 hours a week, which is nuts. So you don't want to be the cheapest. You want to be the best. You want to innovate and become the best. Well, how do you do that? Well, by being different. So better warranties, better communication, better people, add-ons, bundle deals, and other things that are going to make you better. So if you've been doing this a long time, what's your experience? Licensed and insured. Like there's one of my clients calls it a buck in a truck. These guys that go around with no license is like, you can work with a buck in a truck or you can work with us, background experience. So they don't want to hire the wrong company and then realize that company did a bad job. So you need to tell them how you're different. And this is part of the end when you give them the folder, say, hey, I'll just tell you, our company has been around this long. We have 4.9 stars on Google with over 200 reviews. Our owner, you just lay it out, our warranty. And hey, if you get some more quotes, we don't want to lose a job over a few bucks. So please reach out and let me know. And if you handle yourself that way, your closing rate is going to go way up. And, maybe you've got a competitor in the area that they always compete, right? And they're always a little lower. Then say something like this. Well, there's a competitor in our area that you may get a lower price from. Will tell you this because I hear this from people all the time. But be sure to check their online reviews, especially if they're low. So if you are the best company and you're charging more, right, and there's somebody you're competing with that's lower, you say something like this. Be sure to check out their online reviews because sometimes we have customers that, we send out an estimate and they actually work with them, but then they come back to us because we have to fix their job. And so it's a great sales line for just making sure they understand. And what I just would encourage you in this sales process is that if you sound like everyone else and you don't think through your sales process, you're going to be compared to everyone else. They're going to think you're just like everyone else. So it all starts the first time they visited your website, who they spoke to, what they sent to confirm the appointment, the communication, all of that, and how you come to the house or wherever you're meeting with them to go through that process. All right. And you have to figure out like how you can do it better. And sometimes it just takes a few hours to go through and figure out your unique selling points. If you grab our book for free on our website at Grow Inc., you can learn all about unique selling points. Your goal is to compete on value and not on price. And value is what people care about, not price. Okay. And I'll give you an example. You buy, business owner, on value, not on price. Salesperson, listen to this. You buy on value, not always on price. If you always bought on price, you would always pick the cheapest thing, right? But when you went car shopping, you didn't buy the cheapest car, did you? Right? You didn't take the cheapest form of transportation. Well, the cheapest form of transportation is walking, but you picked a car, probably had leather, probably had some features, right, that you wanted, that you cared about. When you went to go buy a house, you didn't buy the cheapest house, did you? Or did you buy the one that had the floor plan you valued, the neighborhood you valued, the school district you valued? So it's not always about price. It's what people value. So decisions aren't based on price alone. And if the only prospects you're getting is, I care about price, it's because you already have weak, unique selling points and haven't set yourself apart. And what will happen is you'll only get the lowest price jobs always, and work yourself to death and be beat up and weary and tired and all of those things. And so one of the questions I often get is like, do we close them hard on the spot? Right? Do I try to go for the hard close? My answer is no. Don't go for a hard close. You can, if they're ready to go, let them sign up and pay the deposit, but it should not be high pressure. And it should not be manipulative. Hey, I can't hold this spot forever. Yeah, like no manipulation. If a lot of our clients are backed up for a month or 2 months, and you say, hey, listen, right now we are booked up. Right now we're scheduling 2 months out. Just want to tell you. And so we put your spot in line when you pay the deposit or once you sign the contract or however your process goes. That is motivation. And sometimes we are backed up. So right now we're a couple of months backed up. And so if people get an estimate and they're like, hey, I'm not ready to go. So it's okay, no worries. Like, take your time. We can talk about it in a year, but just know we have a waiting period, and that's honest and that's true. But you don't want to manipulate or put high pressure on there. So you're not going to high pressure close people. You're going to show them the best way, right? And closing is simply helping them decide, right? And even if they don't work with you, you're like, hey, if you want to send me an estimate, I'm happy to take a look at it. You're like, hey, you are the guru, the consultant to help them get things better. You show them what the problem is, you show them the solution, you confirm the next steps, and hey, here's the link if you're ready, here's how to sign up, and you give them vision for what the next step is. And you should feel confident that you've done a good job and you've led them the right way. It feels like leadership and not sales. So I don't ever do hard closes, never. Right? Why? Because I feel really confident in our agency and what we do, and that we do more work for a better price with better results. And because of that, I don't feel like I got to put pressure. And if you put yourself in the same position as a business owner, and you're prepared for the meeting and you've communicated well and done all of that, you never have to put high pressure sales on somebody. You simply become the best choice out there. And that's really winning. And that's where, seriously, if you implemented all of these things, you probably could grow, by 10%, 15% or more in conversion rates. What would that do to your revenues this year? I'm not talking about doing marketing and getting a ton of leads. I'm talking about what if you increased your conversion rates? And what I'll tell you is we've had some clients generate a ton more leads. But if their sales system is broken, then their revenues aren't going to grow. We had a client in their first year, they had a new sales guy that they work with us, and they got a ton more exposure. Like their Google My Business profile ads. It's just a ton of exposure. But the saddest thing that I saw and what I noticed is that their conversion rate for sales was 15%. Okay. It's abysmal. It's low, no follow-up. Estimates took forever to get there. And I was like, business owner, the sales guy is not me. I'm just telling you, you got more exposure than you had last year. And so their revenues went down. There was a dip in revenues. Well, why? Because the sales engine was a mess. In our next episode, which I'm going to publish at the same time so you can listen to it back to back, we're going to talk about how to deal with different personalities. I think you're going to find that helpful. Hopefully you found this helpful. As I close out, just want to remind you, you can go to our website at www.grow.inc. Yes, .inc is an official domain name, super expensive to have, but we got it because we thought it was super cool. Grow Inc., and you can request our free resources. We got a ton of great resources online. You can get our book, which will go through the complete 4-step process. One of them, which is about unique selling points and how you can sell better. You'll find that really helpful. And then it's available in PDF. You can also find that in audio format. There is a marketing checklist, some of the marketing tools that we use. Beyond that, you'll find some helpful videos. And this year we are launching a school, an online school, SKOOL, where we're going to have some free webinars. And beyond that, we are going to provide some really great weekly help desk meetings where if you just want to pop in and ask us a question, you can do that. It's all free, but you can get started by going to Grow Inc. And get started with our free resources. Again, I want to thank you for listening today. We appreciate you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
Thanks for listening to the podcast today. We hope you found today's episode helpful and informative. For more information about Grow Inc. and to request our free marketing blueprint ebook and other resources, please visit www.grow.inc. That's GRO.inc. We'll catch you in the next episode.